Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I hope you're having a great week. The Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk fight is not that far away. No, it isn't. Only a few weeks now. And, I'm not going to do a prediction video. I'll save that for the week. But I think it's interesting to look as much as we can at the behaviour of the two fighters currently. Because sometimes, even though you might not have what you might call inside information, you're not privy to what's going on behind closed doors, it's nice to sort of pontificate, whether you're accurate or not, about the demeanour of the fighters. Is it revealing anything about what's going on behind closed doors? How do they seem? And that can be very misleading at times, but especially with Fury, who, as we know, is an extremely erratic man. I think he does have a bipolar diagnosis. Usyk is the opposite. But I think if you look at, they certainly, when they had that face-off, that, gloves are off thing that was leaked. I did a video previously, so I guess you might call this a follow-up video, but I thought it was quite interesting how Fury was quite respectful. In fact, you would say very respectful in many respects. Very respectful in many respects. Towards Usyk, mentioned his religion. That's what I admire about you the most. We're both God-fearing men. I mean, Usyk gave almost a smirk at the idea, as if to say, well, are we both? Yeah, you think so, dear? But Fury was, I'd stop short of saying he was licking his arse, but he was nevertheless trying to be quite ingratiating towards Usyk. And then he kind of let his mask slip a little bit, because he made that comment about Usyk with an earring, and it was beeped. I'm not sure exactly what was said. Did he call him a pussy? Only a pussy wears an earring, or something like that, or something? I can't remember. It was beeped, and I was trying to work out what he said. I've watched it a couple of times. That gloves are off thing. Well, that kind of betrayed a rather sort of silly, childish demeanour that we've come to expect from Fury. So he's sort of being all respectful and blah blah blah, and you're a threat, you're a good fighter, but you've got an earring, so you're a pussy. It's like when I was young, because I've got two earrings. I've had them in since I was 16. I pierced them myself, stuck them in, survived the onslaught of pus, and they've been there ever since. So that's 40 years I've had these earrings in. And when I was a kid, if you had an earring, you're meant to be gay. I'll use the polite word, gay. And I'm reminded of what the Australian comic Steve Hughes said. He said, he's got an earring, and someone said, "Oh, you're a puff, mate. You're a puff." What do you mean I'm a puff? It's interesting because, where I'm from, it isn't whether you're wearing an earring, it's whether you've got your cock in another man's arse. That's what he said. So Fury is kind of, with the earring thing, it's very, very strange. And Usyk didn't seem to get the joke. Usyk was like, well, this is part of my culture. It goes back to the Cossacks, and, it's an indication of my heritage and so on and so on. He took it very seriously. He didn't seem to appreciate whether it was humour or not, I don't know, but it fell flat on its face. So Fury is kind of in that respectful, disarming sort of mode. And I'm wondering if he's doing that to try to lull Usyk into a false sense of security. Now, I don't think it's going to work. I don't think any kind of mental gymnastics from Fury is going to bother Usyk. I think Usyk is immensely mentally strong. And in fact, I don't think anything bothers him. I think he comes across as being extremely intense and motivated, as if he fully recognises that this is the culmination of everything he's gone through, becoming undisputed cruiser champ, becoming, unified heavy champ. And now the final hurdle to reach the summit of Mount Everest is to defeat Fury and become the undisputed heavyweight champion. I think that is very, very clear in his head. It's a very sort of crystal clear vision for him, and he comes across as being, because he's normally quite humorous, and he normally, with the gloves are off thing, he normally has a little joke. He struck me as being very, very focused. There's no doubt he'll be physically fine. I think he he probably feels that Fury has read too much into his last fight, the business with Daniel Dubois, when Dubois hit him, low, or was it low? And I think it was low, definitely, but a lot of people said there was controversy around this, and he probably thinks that Fury looked at that and thought, I can take this guy now. I think Fury is barking up the wrong tree there. I definitely think he should test Usyk's body, and I think there is a possibility that Usyk is weak to the body. That might be his Achilles heel, or Achilles body, if you like. But if Fury is putting all his hopes on that one, if that's the one string to his bow, if he's putting all his hope on chopping down Usyk like a lumberjack chopping down a tree, solely work the body. Yes, of course, body work in a fight is great. In fact, it's an underrated art. It's an underused art. But I do think that he'll need more than that, because Usyk he's a tough guy. He's mentally very, very strong. So I would say that Usyk, by the time he gets into that ring, he will be completely focused, if he isn't already. We'll assume he's not carrying any major injuries. Most fighters that go into the professional boxing ring are carrying a niggle or two most of the time. It's just the nature of the thing. You're sparring, you pick up the occasional little, ding in your ribs or whatever, or maybe there's a slight nick on your eye that gets covered up, and it can be anything. Maybe you've overtrained. I don't think that will happen with Usyk. I think he is absolutely on point, will be on point for this fight. Now, with Fury, because of the Ngannou debacle, a lot of people wrote him off. I think that is a completely the wrong thing to do. If you looked at Fury in that gloves are off, he looked healthy, he looked thin around the face, he was sitting down, so you couldn't really look at his body. He's never going to be an Adonis, but he seemed to have lost a bit of weight. The question is this just a fat camp? Hopefully not, because that won't be enough, I don't think, to beat Usyk. He's got to sharpen his tools, get not just fit, but fighting fit. But I think he's on the way there. He did talk some crap in that thing. Oh, well, I only ever trained for 4 weeks and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, we know, mate. And that's what happened against Ngannou. Look what happened. But I think that Ngannou farce, where he really was embarrassed, I think that may have focused his intent. And I think that, you have to question, why did he take that fight now? Well, obviously he's been offered that enormous amount of Saudi money, which is incredible, as Usyk, or Usyk's getting less, I think. And he probably did see some vulnerability in Usyk. But I think he's also aware that he can't age out Usyk, because Usyk has led the consummate professional's life. Fury hasn't. Fury's put on weight. He likes to drink, and we all know about his little his naughtinesses in the past. So even though he's younger, chronologically younger, in terms of fighting, of his body, it may be older than Usyk. So he can't age out Usyk. If anything, if he waits too long, he'll age himself out. So I think he probably thought, okay, now's the time. Now's the time to do it. And I think he will come in the best. Well, I think we'll see the best possible Fury, at least in terms of physical fitness. And I think mentally he'll be on it as well. I think there are doubts in his mind, definitely doubts in his mind. He's such an erratic-natured character; it's very difficult to really pick up on stuff with any great confidence. But nevertheless, I think we will see the best possible Fury and the best possible Usyk. I think this is going to be a good fight, an intriguing fight. It'll have its action moments. I don't think it'll be action-packed, but it'll be fascinating to see both of these guys. I think the two best heavyweights of their era going at it. So what do you think? I'm not going to make a prediction yet. I'm going to save that for the week, maybe a few days before the fight. Give me your opinions if you've got any. What's your view on as best you can tell, on Fury and Usyk, how they're coming across, who's got it, who hasn't? What do you think they're hiding? Do you think they're hiding anything? Let me know. Leave all your comments below. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. That would be fantastic. And also hit the like button, because they count the likes. Don't ask me why, but they do. Anyway, Thanks a lot for your time. I'll catch you later, and bye for now.